Actually, you know what? So this is the video I've been kind of wanting to watch. So if you guys aren't familiar, this is David Achu. He makes a lot of like video essays on pretty random subjects.
I think Sammy Cohen described it best when she said,
essentially, if soap operas and TikTok had a baby, fed it Red Bull, and gave it a credit card, you would get a microdrama.
originating in China as Duanju,
Hate
microdrama
that.
is also known as vertical.
Hate that. Oh, hate everything about that. What did she just say?
Cohen described it best when she said,
Essentially, if soap operas and TikTok had a baby, fed it Red Bull, and gave it a credit card, you would get a microdrama.
originating in China
Hate
as
that.
Duanju, microdramas, also known as vertical dramas, are extremely popular and wildly profitable and have been on the rise over the past few years. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can you expect me to believe anything you just said when you're dressed like a timeshare salesman from 1987? Yes, but unlike what I'm about to do to
I
a
trust
conference
him.
room full of vacationers in a Hilton hotel, I'm telling you the truth. You may have heard about them from advertisements or on your For You page or from every YouTuber ever with a pulse. The response to the
I understand that this is like the subject of the video. I don't get any of this content on my For You page on any platform. I don't get it on Twitter or X or whatever. I don't get it on YouTube. I don't get it on TikTok. I don't know what he's talking about when he's saying these are like incredibly popular, because I don't have any of that. I don't see any of it. It does not pop up on my feeds.
new format ranges wildly, from people giving stellar 10-star reviews to different series and giving top 10 lists of their favorite shows about billionaires or dating someone you shouldn't, or secret billionaires or dating someone you shouldn't in secret, or fake dating or faking being poor while secretly dating while you're a billionaire. While others share the opinion of one man who tweeted while the AI fruit Love Island thing was popular, saying that I am fundamentally superior to anyone who watches this, which, whether you agree with him or not, is objectively one of the funniest.
It's a true statement though. If you unironically loved AI fruit Love Island, you're just an inferior being. That's just how I feel about it. Maybe that's extreme. Maybe that's a wrong thing to say, but I honestly just think you are so fucking brain rotted that you are not on the same plane of existence as just regular people. That is, it's crazy.
I don't want to just write something off just because I'm on the internet and this is one of the 7 government mandated opinions I'm allowed to have. There has to be something good to this. There's always 2 sides to every story. What? It's a layered situation. Frontal lobe expanded. Who wants to talk Roth IRAs? I know I do. We're gonna get to the point in this video soon, but there are some interesting positives to this medium I feel like we should discuss first.
Okay.
Before we get into it though, I feel like I didn't properly express how popular these shows are. The main service we're going to be talking about today is called Real Short, but that is far from being the only service like this. In the App Store's rankings for top free entertainment apps, out of the top 20, 7 of them are vertical drama apps. There's Real Short, Story Real, Drama Wave, Net Short, Pine Drama, Vibe Short, and Drama Box. And really, it's more of a top 15 because some apps in that top 20 shouldn't even be there, like the Netflix game controller, Free Cash, and was it Paramount Plus? That's not real. Last year in China,
that's really funny because Paramount Plus does not have anything good on it aside from like Star Trek or something. There is so little content on Paramount Plus, but also that is so horrifyingly sad that 7 of the top 15 like streaming apps is fucking vertical content. That's crazy. Well, not even just vertical content, but specifically vertical micro dramas. That's terrible. I hate that. I hate everything about that. That's horrifying.
The revenue produced from microdramas outpaced the revenue of the box office for real movies. By some estimates,
no, you're lying. That we can't let that happen. Like, as a society, as a people, hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars are being spent on real movies, and you're telling me that fucking vertical micro dramas are outpacing the box office? we're in the wrong timeline. I mean, there's a lot of things you could point to that indicate us being in the wrong timeline, but we're just in the wrong timeline.
China has 830 million users of these apps, 60% of which pay or transact. Obviously, there are bots and fake accounts, but
almost a billion with a B viewers for microdramas. How is this something that I just didn't know about? Oh, well, I knew like vaguely that they existed, but like that's crazy. I just live on a completely different like part of the internet, apparently, that I'm finding out.
roughly speaking, half of them are watching the shows and 25% of them are giving these companies money. 25% of China. But it's more than just China. Many countries are becoming obsessed with vertical dramas, including the US. Time magazine included Crazy
I'll try
Maple
not to
Studios,
pause
a
as much,
company
I'm sorry.
behind Real Short, in its list of top 100 most influential companies of 2024, which is understandable considering that last year US generated revenue from vertical dramas reached an estimated $819 million, and that the global industry of microdramas is expected to hit $14 billion by next year. Maybe
$14 billion being made from microdramas in a year? Dude, I can't what am I, is it understate or overstate? I'm disappointed. That's what I'm trying to say is my disappointment is immeasurable. And quite frankly, my day is ruined. This is unacceptable.
Wondering, how on earth are they making that much money? It's simple. If I give you a penny and in return you give me $10,000, on my end, that is considered a profit. We'll get into how they get people to pay for it later, but one of the reasons why these things are so lucrative is because of how cheap these shows are to make.
We have made arguably one of the biggest budget.
Can you talk about what that budget is?
I would say double like a regular vertical. It's a medieval fantasy genre. On one day, we have more than 90 people on set involved,
Wow,
all
okay.
Korean cast, and we have a real historical castle.
Are we talking between sort of under $1 million?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but
Oh,
more
of
than
course.
$500,000?
No.
That is still significant, right? If you're getting up to the top
It-
end of that.
What?
Top of that.
The CEO of Real Short says that making an entire show costs less than $300,000. To put that into perspective, by season 10 of Friends, the show cost $10 million per episode. By video production standards, these shows cost
I did not know that. Dude, Friends came out so long ago and it cost that much per episode? Whoa. I vastly underestimated how much it costs to put on a popular network TV show. That's crazy. $10 million per episode. What are you talking about? But also at the same time, in the year of our Lord 2026, $300,000 to make an entire production for a microdrama that people watch on their phone that is generating millions and billions of dollars in revenue. It's literally, that's just a fucking money printer. That's a fucking money printer, and I understand why they're doing it, because that's fucking insane profit margins.
nothing to make, which is why they are able to make dozens upon dozens of shows every year. You will never run out of things to watch because clearly the objective is quantity over quality. Despite that, people love them. Go to IMDb. A lot of these shows have great reviews, and while I personally still wouldn't watch it, I can kind of understand why. The people who come to these shows already know that these things are not Shakespeare, and that's fine. It's just an interesting distraction, and that's exactly what they want. Jen Cooper, founder of the website Vertical Drama.
These people aren't delusional. We can say that much. These people aren't delusional. They know they're watching slop, and I think they're just okay with that. And you know what? Just power to them. If they know and they understand that and they're okay with just watching slop, fair enough. It's still disappointing, but fair enough.
Love talked about this in an article from The Guardian. She talked about how many people, including herself, find vertical dramas at a time of need or just intense stress, and they want something that they can use to escape. She also talks about how through her page, she was able to cultivate a community of people who love vertical dramas. She was even able to put together like a fan awards for favorite dramas. On her YouTube channel, she sometimes does interviews with people who are involved in the production of verticals, and she did one with this screenwriter named Jenny Rosen, where she made another good point about why verticals
I'm
should be
actually...
appealing.
Sorry, again, I keep pausing, I apologize, but I'm actually curious how much, if these productions are so cheap to make and that's why they're able to print out so many, I'm very curious how much the actors like even get paid, right? Does that make sense? Like, if they were saying like it was $300,000 to shoot like an entire season of, I assume of an entire season of like a one of these microdrama productions, like are the actors only getting paid like a few thousand for like an entire show? Or like I'm really curious what the distribution of like on the production costs is.
There are collective feelings that we're all dealing with every day, where when you see somebody wronged, you can immediately say, that's me. I've been there. Verticals will act out the more extreme version of things that happen to us every day. What would it be like if I could get revenge? What would it be like if I could, you know, end up with Prince Charming? There's some part of us that still keeps that childlike wonder and mystery of like, what would it be like if that were me? You know, maybe I'm a cleaning lady, you know,
Her hair
working
is
at a corporate
crazy, I
office,
just
and
gotta
for some
say.
reason the CEO notices me.
That
We know
is
it's not real,
very
but that doesn't
so
mean
much
the magic
volume
of it
in her
doesn't
hair.
feel real. These are deeply human needs, and these are deeply human experiences that verticals tap into instantly. You don't need a prestige studio. You do not need celebrity A-list actors. You need people who understand how to make somebody feel heard and seen, and that's what gets people's attention. I think that's what makes verticals very unique.
I have to agree with that. Sometimes I don't need a big budget. I just need to be able
Appreciate the 19 months, dude. Thank you so much. I appreciate you supporting the channel so much. Thank you.
to live a fantasy. And I like watching skits of people on TikTok talking about what they really want to say to customers in retail. Like, what would be the issue of doing that, but with a higher budget than one notepad and literally no other props? So the idea of verticals filling that spot is not crazy. They just sent me another notification. Not now. That's written in the script. That'll make sense in about 5 to 7 minutes. Fun fact, I write these things out of order. A microdrama can fill the needs for emotion and story without 17 episodes of filler. For example, Tyler Perry has made approximately 700 movies and TV shows within the past decade, and 5 of them are good. He started out great, but he eventually learned that if you can make...
It's actually so true, because I only know the name Tyler Perry because it's always like the name that is attached to like a movie or something, and it's just like it is a crazy like C tier, sometimes B tier level movie that is just shoveled out and that was like thrown onto DVD. Because like, bro, there's so much like Tyler Perry content, it's crazy. But I guess it's just like, you know, he like
stories
volume,
about black
right?
people suffering slowly. Turns out the money is still green. That thing's green. Green! And I think that's part of the reason why people will watch entire shows and movies through nothing but TikTok clips. Granted, I don't love the idea of someone preferring to watch movies through clips because it, quote, skips through the boring bits. But I can't say that I do it from time to time because it's just way less commitment. I want story, I want drama. I just don't always want to spend too...
So I'm gonna pause. I'm pausing again. You know what? I'm just gonna unapologetically pause and just say what I'm gonna say. I have a confession to make, and it has to do with what he just mentioned, and it's with me watching anime. I've started doing this thing in anime where if I feel like I can predict what is happening in the story or like the progression of the anime, I will just use the like skip ahead feature on a lot of these like apps. Specifically, I watch anime on Crunchyroll, but I'll just use that skip ahead by 10 seconds and I'll just kind of click it a couple times, see if I still am on the right track with how the story is progressing, and if I am, I'll skip ahead a little bit more. There have been times, I think it's just because I watch a lot of slop anime, which is kind of, it's on me for just watching slop anime. That is just like, the story is so predictable that I've gotten to a point where I just like, I've had episodes of anime in like the slop anime that I watch where I, out of like the 20 minutes of the anime that is being shown, I've skipped like 5 minutes of it. And I just like, This doesn't happen like every episode of anime I watch. It only happens with some of like the more predictable anime that I've watched. So it's not every anime. I promise you that. There are plenty of anime that I watch that keep my attention for the entirety of the anime, but just admittedly, there's some anime where the story is very predictable and what is happening is being dragged out, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna skip a little bit. That's not that crazy, right? I'll skip like 30 seconds at a time and see if it's still kind of dragging out, and then I'll go ahead a little bit more. But like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, if it's, I feel like it's wasting my time, so I'm just gonna move ahead.
2 hours to get it. I keep telling myself one day I'm gonna watch House. I'm not really sure what's going on or why he's so crotchety or why there are so many I didn't know I was pregnant or you're too fat storylines, but I'll figure it out eventually. Until then, if YouTube Shorts throws me into another rabbit hole and clips start playing, I'm not gonna fight it. In addition to that, verticals actually help writers in an interesting way.
For instance, right now I'm in an animation studio. Animation takes forever. I'll write something and I won't see it done for 3 or 4 years. Feature films, Beverly Hills Chihuahua was one of the shortest turnarounds, and that still took me 3 years to see it on a screen. Maritza and I will talk about a scene. I write the scene. A month later, I'm looking at a rough cut to 2 months later, and then it's up. It's within the 3-month period. It's so fresh. And as a writer, you're growing. You're going, that line worked. That didn't work. You're able to see stuff. Whereas in feature films and television, you're like, oh yeah, I remember I wrote that a while ago.
I also agree with the idea that vertical dramas can serve as a very interesting writing exercise. Because sometimes you have an idea for a story that is not worth serious investment, but it would be nice to see it brought to life. So to think that you could come up with that idea, work on it for a little bit, but you're not.
So what he's saying is like, what I'm understanding here is that he's saying vertical dramas or like vertical shows are the scraps of the writer's desk because they're not good enough to go into full production, but they're good enough to become slop content.
Not married to it, you're done within a few weeks, and then later that year you can see it brought to life. That does sound fun. And it would be stupid to say that the reason these shows are bad is simply because they are vertical or that they're low budget, because that would be akin to saying that all of TikTok is just bad. Is there slop on TikTok? Absolutely. Am I ever gonna stop watching TikTok? No. Are you stupid? Every day there are 17 video essays uploaded about a TikTok controversy I've never heard of nor will impact my life in any way. I will learn nothing from it, and yet I will watch each one of those videos in succession. Oh, what? Now I have standards for entertainment? And I would assume that work like this.
I can't stand like there is like some internet drama that I'll like get involved in. It's not involved in, but I'll like watch from a distance, and it's like typically has to do, if it has something to do with like streaming or the streaming like verse or like YouTubers or something like that, I'll probably watch that like mildly a bit. But people who sit down and watch like 40-minute or hour-long essays on this type of like TikTok drama, I don't get it. It's just not for me. I don't understand it.
Give new writers the experience they need to then go on and write bigger and better things. Fun fact, the head writer on one of my favorite shows actually got their start working as a writer on verticals. And actually, it's playing right now. I gotta go. Shh, my show's on. What a surprise. I come home from another night of overtime just to find you sitting there. All I ask is that you work even a fraction as hard as I do every day. And what do I get? Nothing! You just sit there and your piles and stacks on a table in the corner all day as if that's helping me. Don't you look at me like that! If you want your money to work just as hard as you do, then sign up for today's sponsor, Chime, America's #1 choice for banking.
Yeah, get out of here.
Savings account, you can earn 3.75% APY on your money.
I'm watching his video. We should do the courtesy of let the ad play through. You know what I
which is
mean?
way better than the
Like
national
that's
average,
the
like
least
9
I can
times
do
better. For
because I
example, if you
do
had
I
10 grand to put
use
into savings, a Chime account versus
YouTube
a regular
Premium,
account would be the difference of $382
so
a year
we
versus
don't
just
watch
38.
like the
That's extra
the
money
beginning ads
just for
anyway.
sitting in a better place. On top of that, with the Chime card, you can get 5% cash back on a category of your choosing every month for even more
I
extra
feel like
money. So pick a category you
Chime
can spend a lot
isn't
on, and
like
now your purchases earn you money back. So for example, if you spend $1,000 on groceries every month, after a year, that is $600 back in your pocket. If you're anything like me,
I feel like
pick
Chime
dining.
isn't bad on
I
its
spend an
surface,
inexcusable amount
but
of
it
money on buying
feels
food out. I may as well
it
get something back for it.
feels
Not to mention all the other features that Chime offers, like the ability to set savings goals in the app
suspicious
that
in
you
the
can get your
same way
paycheck
that
up to
Honey
2 days
did of
early with
like
direct deposit. Or the
how
over
how are they like
47,000
making
fee-free
their
ATM
money?
nationwide, and so much more. If you want your money to do more than just sit there all day, then join the millions who are already banking fee-free through Chime. So sign up for Chime using the link in my description or by scanning
Yeah,
the QR
no
code
fee
on screen. New
banking.
users
Like,
can
wait,
get up
how
to
do
a
you make your
$350
money?
bonus with the new Chime
That's how
checking
I always
account
looked at Honey
exclusively through
before
my
Honey
link.
got into controversy. I'm like,
Maybe
how do you
not
make
so
your
useless
money?
after all. Anyway, I'm off to do my nightly habit of driving recklessly on the highway because I have complete confidence that no one has nefariously cut my brake lines. I love driving recklessly. Oh no! It seems someone has nefariously cut my brake lines! No!
Oh my god.
My leg! That
Dick
was the
Wolf.
series finale. All of that is to say that it's really easy to cast judgment on these platforms and services without taking a second to acknowledge the good that it can do for the economy, for the audiences, and for creatives. All those different perspectives can really help change your viewpoint on things. And then you go to watch one of those shows, and your immediate first question is, what were any of those people talking about? I have a love-hate relationship with commentary videos. Hate it because they have all the same talking points and vocabulary and filming style and subjects of discussion and thumbnail design and title structures. Love it because despite that, I will watch a minimum of 7 commentary videos a day. I bring that up because one thing I really despise in the commentary space is that they exaggerate everything. This person is the worst human being ever. This brand needs to die today. I did not cheat on my wife. And I hate that because it's not human. There is no way you absolutely love or hate everything. There is never a middle ground. That's why in my videos, I almost never say anything with a sense of finality. There's always room for doubt. I will almost never say anything absolute about anything. With all of that in mind, objectively speaking, Real Short is one of the worst apps I have ever seen. As Redditor
Okay.
Fun Machine 3238 put it, these things are so bad because they're designed to keep you addicted and paying, not keep you entertained. That simple sentence is the business plan for this entire industry, and it is evident in almost
yeah.
every choice they make.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I cannot overemphasize just how cookie cutter everything on these apps is. All those talks from those writers about human emotions and experiences was way too nice for what this app is. It takes the most basic tropes in writing and rinses, recycles, repeats over and over for every last drop that can wring out of it. How many shows can you possibly make about billionaires? And why do you keep using that word as if it's a normal thing? $1 billion is an absurd amount of money, and anyone with money like that would never live life in any of the ways it's depicted on these shows. This is more of a side tangent, but I really want to get this point across. I shoot videos at 30 frames
It's because like they used to have shows and back in the day where they talked about like millionaires, right? But millionaires in today's like age isn't nearly as interesting as billionaires because of how like the economy has shifted so much where like millionaires used to be this like crazy unobtainable like thing, and now you have like now billionaires is that new thing. Like being a millionaire is obviously still a very like crazy amount of money, and for a big majority of us it is still like a very much like unobtainable thing, but it's not as unobtainable as it used to be just because of how wages are. Like I would say for like big paying career wages, people are making like several $100,000 like a year, and so they're becoming millionaires just by working like an engineering job or a tech job or something like that. And it used to be that millionaires were like business owners and stuff, but now it's kind of shifted into like you can be like a multi-millionaire by working like a job, like a normal like long-term career job, And now billionaires are like this super, super duper unobtainable thing that is basically left to the company owners and like the several or like hundreds of business owners or like investors and stuff like that. So I would say the reason like they use this word billionaire now is because it is the new unobtainable status symbol that millionaire used to be back in like the 70s. It's just a shift in like how wealth has gone.
Per second. Okay, so let's suppose that one frame cost $1 million. So if I went silent for 3 frames,
yeah, millionaires
boom,
are
$3
kind of
million.
like the upper
okay,
middle
let's compare
class
that
now.
to okay, so let's suppose that one frame cost $1 million. So if I went silent for 3 frames, boom, that was $3 million. Okay, let's compare that to $1 billion. You ready?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm pretty sure he just sped it up a little bit too, from the way his head moved there. Or maybe I'm just seeing things.
That was 33 seconds. Fun fact, if $1 million is a frame, $1 trillion is 9
I,
hours of silence. But that is a topic for a different video. Obviously, that doesn't mean every single one of these is completely terrible. Issa Rae actually produced her own vertical drama for TikTok's Pine Drama app. I mean, just from the first episode, it looks better than a regular microdrama. The acting is better. The writing has a lot more thought put into it. And it was able to cause a decent amount of discourse both on and off the app. However, for every one of these shows, there are literally 100 shows about a girl dating her ex-boyfriend's uncle who's a mafia boss, written by AI. Something I find so funny about these is that the budget is so low and the acting is so bad that sometimes you can't tell that something was supposed to be a joke or sarcastic. What did they do to her? Oh, they covered her with red paint as a prank in the show. But what sucks is that most clips you see, like the ones I've shown you, will always be from the first few episodes of the show.
Is that this is a video essay from David Achu that is covering how popular like vertical content micro dramas have gotten, and that it's all basically slop content, which is kind of honestly what a lot of vertical content is anyway, but it's a pretty interesting video so far.
Those are the clips where they're setting up the plot points for the show. They are putting their best foot forward.
This is not negotiable to us that to make the first no matter if the first 8 free episodes or the first 10, make it as extravagant as possible. Spend the most resource on those episodes. The best location, we spend more time polishing the acting. They spend the first 10 episodes really like trying to snatch people's attention and make people hooked.
So you mean to tell me it's just all downhill from here?
It's not really about the quality, the cast, the story. Is really about how effective you are to grasp the audience within that second.
It almost goes right.
Why is this why is she doing this interview but like in a fake room? Because this is very clearly like masked. Like, why is she in like a fake room?
You are to grasp the audience within that second.
It almost goes right into the crux of the story, wherever the drama is. It doesn't require any effort on the part of the user to just jump in and start to watch.
When asked why some of the writing on some of these shows is so bad, it sounds like they were written by AI. The CEO of Real Short said, in part, they want it to be understandable to everyone, even people without higher education. To that, I say, if a person is so incapable of understanding the plot of a movie, so much so that this is the solution, would it be in bad taste to suggest that maybe movies isn't the hobby for them? I'm not saying that, I'm just asking. There is this YouTuber I found called The Book Leo, and she made a fantastic video about something related to this. It's more like the book and author equivalent of vertical streaming. And she made a good point when she was talking about a service called Inkit. Inkit is a free-to-read app where anybody can publish a story, and if they deem it good enough, they will then put it on their paid premium app called Galatea, and if it does good enough there, they will then turn it into a microdrama on a different app that they own called Candy Jar. And despite what you may assume from in that
Oh.
process. It's not the story that they care about.
And if you go to their LinkedIn, they're all like leveraging AI and predictive algorithms. Inkit
Ugh.
discovers unknown stories and turns them into blockbuster hits. By examining reader engagement and behavioral data, the publisher has been able to establish a
Ew.
particular impressive track record of identifying future bestsellers.
I wish I had a toggle for my model to make just a disgusted face, because that is the face I'm making like right now. I'm just ew. Ew, man. This is gross. I hate this so much.
Inkit has really nice graphs where even the writers themselves can see exactly where readers stop binge reading, which chapters they get stuck on. So this is not just about adapting the most popular stories, the stories that get the most views. Like, this is very specifically about using data science to analyze which stories have the highest reader retention, making sure they keep reading and keep paying.
Because it's not about making good content. It's about choosing the stuff that keeps people's attention longer. It's all about highest possible retention rates, which is a lot of what I've been learning as I've been doing so much like short form content, and like how I've been trying to like work on having better retention editing for my videos. Is like, it's just all about retention, and that's what they reward you for, like making as high of a retention as possible for what you put out. So there have been a lot of videos in my like short form videos I've put out where I've personally felt like the content did, or the reception and the viewership for the content did not reflect the quality that I put into it. The problem is that content did not have the retention statistics that indicated to the platform that it was worthy being pushed around. So like some of the content that I'm really proud of has moments in it where there's like silence, and there's like a second or two of silence that I think adds to the video in my personal perspective, and I feel like some people would agree. But for the majority of users, those are times where they would like swipe away because they got bored, or they thought it ended or something like that, and they just want to move on to the next content. So those are indicators to the platform that, hey, this isn't retaining viewership, so we're not going to push this to people, because this isn't going to keep people's attention, so it's not worth it. And to a much more like extreme extent with this micro drama stuff, or well, this specifically where it's Inkit to something, where it goes from a story to something to a micro drama. They're just they're not choosing the good writing stuff, or they're not choosing the popular stuff. They're choosing the stuff that has the highest retention. And I think that is really, really, really disappointing. And I really think that's just the worst part of how AI has been used for these kind of things, because they're not analyzing the actual, like, what people might have preferred get turned into a micro drama. Because by all means, there are probably short stories out there that people have written and storyboards that people have made that would actually make a pretty compelling micro drama. But people don't want that. They want the slop that is going to keep their attention, because it's just giving them all these, these dopamine indicators that are just like keeping them laser focused on it.
I would say this is not about writing good stories at all. This is just about writing whatever story can grab someone's attention the most.
It's all hollow. It's designed to be as cookie cutter and as optimized as it can possibly be. And it's not just the writing. The look of the show has to be as appealing to the target demographic as possible, even if that means being borderline racist.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for the type of talent that you cast in microdrama?
They are looking for a specific kind of look.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the look?
Okay, I'm gonna put it really straightforward.
Yeah.
I would say they're looking for Barbie and Ken. The lack of diversity is incredibly horrible.
Okay, so all of that was the first problem. When you download Real Short,
all of this that he just talked about for the last, I don't know, the last 10 or 20 minutes was the first part of the problem to all
the
these
shows are free to watch
microdramas.
at first. You usually get the first 8 to 10 episodes for free, and then after that, if you want to keep watching more episodes, you either have to watch an ad or you can pay for it. And these shows are like 60 to 80 episodes long. I'm not watching a 45-second gambling ad for each one of them. So if you choose to pay for it, you have a list of options. There's the exorbitantly expensive way, the super confusing way, and that's the end of that list. You can pay for a subscription like any other streaming service. It's $20. You know, that's a bit much for a month, but I mean, I get... Does that say per week? So you think that's too expensive, and also you don't want to be
Wait, I didn't even notice that till he pointed it out. Weekly? $10 for your first week? $20 a week? What? Oh my god.
Does that say per week? So you think that's too expensive, and also you don't want to be like the dozens of people on Trustpilot who say that the subscription is very confusing and hard to cancel, and you really only want to watch this one show and then you're going to delete the app. Well, you have the option to pay per episode using coins. Like a mobile game designed to allow children to spend thousands of dollars of their parents' money because they don't understand the concept of currency yet. Real Short doesn't allow you to pay per episode with actual money. Instead, you have to pay for coins and then use the coins to pay for the episode. I mentioned mobile games not just as a one-off joke, but because you have to assume that is the reason why they're doing this. First off, because the company that makes Real Short also makes bad mobile games, but also because I have to assume to Real Short, the ideal user will do the following. You watch the first 10 episodes of a show for free and now you're hooked. You want to see what happens next, but for every episode after that, you have to watch an ad. But even if you're cool with that, they only let you watch 5 ads a day. I can't do that. I need to know if the billionaire ninja doctor is able to save his alien girlfriend after she was attacked by the clan of the Zhongwen Nidong. But I don't have the 60 coins I need to watch every episode. Okay, maybe we can look into getting a couple. There is no way I'm spending more than $10 on that. What kind of greed is that? Hey, if I spend $10, I get 1,100 coins, but if I spend just $5, I get 1,000 coins. That's a suspiciously good deal. Also, neither of these numbers are evenly divisible by 60, but I'm sure that's not going to come up later. So you get your 1,000 coins, you watch the next 18 episodes, you're left off on a cliffhanger because no matter where it is you started or stopped, every episode ends with a cliffhanger, and now you only have 40 coins. That's just short of 60 to get to the next episode. Oh no, it did come up later. But 40, that's basically 60. You're so close. Maybe I'll buy
So, wait, so they make you spend 60 coins per episode, but these are all divisible by 100, not divisible by 60, just so that you come up one episode short and you have barely not enough coins to pay for the episode. I hate mobile app sales tactics with a passion. I hate virtual currency with a passion. It is so... Ooh, I feel like I wish if I could request David Achu made a video on anything, it would just be how fucking awful and predatory the microtransaction ecosystem is, because it is just horrible, and it is designed to make you spend more and more money. And this is seen in not just mobile apps like Real Short, it's seen in mobile games, and it's also seen in every fucking live service competitive game in the world, like fucking Valorant or Overwatch or Counter-Strike. It's seen in literally every fucking game that has microtransactions, and it is awful, and it's predatory, and there needs to be like some kind of government regulation against it. If you want people to pay for things in your app, just make them pay the amount. So like if $1 is 100 tokens, make them pay $1, not 100 tokens, because it is this awful little thing that just disconnects the user from understanding just how much money they're spending, and it's so fucking awful, and it needs to go away.
one more time, or I'll get the 2,400 coins for $20 so it doesn't happen again. Or maybe we just skip the coin system entirely and just go for the subscription. I mean, it's the smart decision when you think about it. This is the entire mobile game business plan, tricking suckers into spending way too much money because it doesn't feel like money, and also you're so close! Because why would I spend $10 a month on a streaming service? That's way too much money. I'm on a budget. I'd rather agree to spend $19 a week and then forget about it for the next 7 months. But it's worth it because I got to watch that one show about I don't remember
billionaire
exactly
ninja
what it
saves
was
his
called,
alien
but there's
girlfriend.
Probably a billionaire in it. But when you finally come to your senses and decide to get off the app, it will use everything in its disposal to bring you back because it notifies you about everything. What is the app?
Oh, dude, I could go on a fucking rant about mobile notifications. This shit fucking fries me. You know what really grinds my gears? Fucking mobile notifications, dude. Oh my god.
You turn on notifications because, duh, if you do, you get 30 free coins. It'd be dumb not to. But when you do that, you don't understand what you just—
They give you coins for turning on notifications? That's fucking crazy. I hate that.
coins. It'd be dumb not to. But when you do that, you don't understand what you just signed on
It's not even enough coins for an episode.
Super clingy. We have some free coins for you to claim. Want to watch a show about a homeless billionaire husband and also it's Christmas? You unlocked a free episode. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait. What? Found a homeless billionaire husband. I'm not a hobo. I'm a billionaire. What?
And also it's Christmas. You unlocked a free episode. Yeah. Did we mention the billionaire was homeless during the holiday season? Why are you going to bed? You could be watching shorts. Okay. What if the show was about the billionaire's mom? I kid you not. While I was typing this into the script that I am reading right now, they sent me a notification. You've been replaced, First Love. Thank you so much, Real Short. I would never have wanted to miss that.
I kid you not.
While I was editing this part of the video, they sent me another notification. I'm wearing the same shirt. This is like an hour later.
They've sent me 19 notifications in 2 days. And as much as I've enjoyed having them on the top of my notifications list for the past 3 weeks, why are they all time sensitive? On Apple's developer website, it explains that there are 4 kinds of notifications. That is 3. There are 4 kinds of notifications a person can get on Apple products. There are passive notifications that don't announce themselves. They're just kind of on the list of things if you check it later. There are active notifications. Those are the regular ones. They pop up and ding if you have your ringer on. Then there are time-sensitive notifications, which, as the name suggests, are specifically designed for things that have a sense of urgency. Things like if you have a delivery on its way, or there's a security issue with an account that needs to be taken care of. And because these things are genuinely urgent, they're allowed to notify you even if you have Do Not Disturb or Focus Mode on. And this is only one step below the last classification for notifications, which is critical, meant for things like Amber Alerts and tornado warnings. Why is Real Short one step below that? Again, these kind of notifications will show up even with Do Not Disturb on, and in my personal experience, they will stay on your home screen for way longer. And you may be thinking, I don't think you should be able to send these kind of notifications for stuff that doesn't really matter. Apple agrees with you, and that's why they explicitly say on their website, never use this feature for marketing, and Real Short does it anyway. All the time. And it's not just notifications. They will take advantage of every feature they can. The thing with iPhones where anything you're doing in the background stays at the top of your phone, so does Real Short. Even if it's paused. Because why would I want the music I'm currently listening to be the main thing on my dynamic island? I closed the app hours ago. Why are you still here? You are interrupting my Faye Webster.
Also, this currently streaming box thing, I have never seen that for a non-live video. Okay, I just realized something weird that I don't know how else to show. So, you play the video, right? And then you exit the app, it automatically goes in picture-in-picture because of course this app does that. And then, but if you lock it, it stops. You open it, it just starts playing. I have never seen any other video player app ever. Okay, you open it again. It just starts. Is that not so weird?
I know it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but I have truly never seen an app do this. And I don't think I have had this much disdain for a service in my life. An overpriced subscription that will use every means necessary to steal your attention just to get you to watch shows where the priority is not story, it's just to get you to waste as much time as possible on the app. And yet, despite all of that, or more accurately, because of all of that, the app is mind-boggling successful. On the App Store alone, it has 453,000 views and an average of 4.7 out of 5 stars. And Real Short, which again is one of many services like this, is set to make $1 billion this year, up 34% from last year. And someone might reason, well, what's the difference between watching something like this and spending time on TikTok? And obviously TikTok isn't perfect, but at least it's a human experience full of human jokes and opinions and skits and creativity. In fact, TikTok's main problem is that it's consistently too good at its job and I never want to leave. But Vertical Dramas, the best way I can describe their feeling is that one episode of SpongeBob where they sold the Krusty Krab to private equity and they started making all the Krabby Patties from gray trash.
What do you say? Garbage?
I can't remember where this clip is, but there was an interview with somebody
Hi, Dragon.
defending the existence of verticals, and one of the arguments they were making is that, well, you know, people are busy and not everybody has the time to sit down and watch a whole show, but if they have a few minutes, they can watch a microdrama, and that's not too bad. The idea that someone would have to work day and night because they can barely afford to live, meanwhile they hardly talk to anybody because we all live in our own bubble and don't communicate with each other, that they could be so busy and strapped for personal time to themselves that when they come home exhausted, they don't have the time to watch a proper show, so the best they can do is watch a couple episodes of a vertical drama, go to sleep, and then do the exact same thing tomorrow is repulsive. That's the grayest sentence I have ever heard.
Yeah,
but it's not fair.
It is honestly such a like cop out of a idea that someone could be just so strapped for time in their life and they choose to spend what little time they have watching a shitty ass microdrama. It's honestly just a sad idea of an existence, and I hope that's not true. I'm sure it is true for like some people, but like overall, like man, that sucks.
Act like this is the first time that bad television has ever been made, and that before this, all of it was great and made solely for art and not for money. Hallmark, Lifetime, and Tubi all exist. And like verticals, Hallmark movies have a ridiculously fast turnaround time and are definitely engineered for quantity over quality. They don't even use different colors in their movie posters. These are the same people copy and pasting. And even before that, we had the original "we are just making this for money" TV. The original bad TV. Soap operas. They've been the way that they are for very similar reasons.
Soap operas employ something called continuous open narrative. In other words, if it feels like the show's conflicts have no clear beginning, middle, and end, it's because yeah, they don't. They're designed to continue as long as advertising deems them profitable. Narrative threads are continually hashed and rehashed. Characters die, then come back, then die again, then come back again, then get amnesia, then get their memory restored, then get blown up, but then they survive. All kinds of stuff. Why? Because these stories are meant to last forever.
I remember pre-pandemic, there was this lady in my neighborhood who was telling me that there was a soap opera she started watching when she was a teenager, and she still watches new episodes of it today. She was 70 years old. Is it easy and entertaining to critique these shows because they're terrible? Without question. There is no shortage of YouTubers reacting to every kind of microdrama you can imagine, and I completely understand why. They're absurd.
Dad, can I borrow $50,000? Mom needs kidney dialysis and we really don't have any money.
Natalie. How shameless of you to come here and beg us for money. You're still thinking about your ex-wife?
No.
It isn't my loser sister.
We'll give you the money.
What?
If you marry Sebastian Klein in my place.
No, I'm not going.
I cannot stress this enough. I barely edited that. Okay, fine, the slap was from a different episode, but everything else, I promise you, was from minute 1 of that show. That was the first episode of one of Real Short's most popular shows, The Double Life of My Billionaire Husband. The billionaire husband being played by this guy, Jared Harper. I'm bringing him up specifically because another reason why verticals cannot be overlooked is that because they're always getting made, they're always creating opportunities for new actors to get work, and that's something that Jared has spoken about.
I had an agent. I was never available because I was super bucked out because you're working as the vertical guy. They didn't get it. You're better than this. You don't need to do this. You need to make yourself more available to us and to these other traditional, Hollywood opportunities.
So you can maybe book a one-day thing on.
So you can make right, and that's just like a maybe book thing. But right. I wasn't, and obviously I got to make rent. In just 1 year, they were like, Jared, this isn't good for you. You got to leave it, or we got to part ways.
Right.
And I was like, let's part ways. I'm crushing it over here. Unless y'all got an offer, then we can talk about something. But you don't.
And the man has been booked and busy.
Damn.
Jared Harper has been in 5 different Real Short shows, 3 of which he plays a billionaire, 1 of which he plays a vaguely rich CEO. He's got a look to him, I guess. I don't know. And it's so interesting because this is a career path that has been looked down on for a long time, but it could be the very thing that advances somebody's career in the future.
That's kind of how the YouTubes and the TikTok was 10 years ago. So we were in a position where we were like, no, we're traditional actors. I want to be Leonardo DiCaprio. I want to be taken seriously. There's still a stigma if you're a YouTube guy, but not anymore. You actually jump the line.
Right.
All it is now is if you can garnish attention and if you have fans and if you have real sales and dollars behind you, you're getting opportunities before traditional actors.
So with all that in mind,
Hmm.
are verticals kind of good then? Lexi Mindtree? She starred in a vertical drama before getting her role as Elle Woods in the Legally Blonde prequel show on Prime Video. And lots of actors starred in soap operas before they became famous, like Brad Pitt, John Stamos, Demi Moore, Bryan Cranston. And you can say what you want about Jared or his acting ability, but between his 5 real short shows, as of recording this, his work has almost 1 billion views. I do think it's great that it provides people a chance to work, not just actors, but directors and writers and crew members. These people get a chance to live by their craft, and whether we like it or not, this is the direction things seem to be going in. I just got a notification. DramaBox is the sponsor and industry partner of a new vertical drama production class at Cal State. And last year, Fox made a serious investment in a microdrama startup called Holy Water. So if people keep watching it, companies keep investing
dude,
in it,
and there's
keeps
just like he already mentioned earlier in the video how I think he said 7. It was like 5 or 7 of like the top 15 like streaming service apps were these microdrama apps, and they want to make even more of them. Fuck, dude, that's not good. That's not good,
making
man.
jobs for creatives. Is it really that bad?
Kind
And
of.
how do you decide that?
Okay, I'm interested. This is honestly what I'm most interested in, because from my perspective, it all kind of feels pretty bad, but I don't know. There is part of it that it is helping up and coming actors find work, which is already a very competitive industry that a lot of these people try to get into acting, can't get anywhere, can't find any work, and it goes pretty bad situation for all these people. But if it can help people find work, that's great. But also, like, I feel like a lot of these microdramas have to be like AI slop to some extent with like some of the screenwriting or the storyboarding and stuff, and that's bad. And I don't like that, because I don't like the idea of I don't like generative AI, and I feel like a lot of this stuff is probably has generative AI aspects to it. I also don't like the idea that we're shortening just media, where you have like movies and TV shows that I prefer sitting down and watching a movie that's anywhere from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours long. That's how I enjoy watching a movie. But so I hate the idea that people are just watching shows that are just a few minutes long each. Or I don't think he ever mentioned like how long each episode of this stuff is, but I don't know. I think the net of it is that it's bad. I think it's just bad.
So much more to a movie than just
Take
the
away.
story. One of my favorite parts of a movie is all the discourse it's able to create, and how multiple people can see the same thing and yet take away a bunch of different points. There's discussion about themes, the director's vision, performances, the look and sound of it. Don't even get me started on soundtracks. The soundtrack for The Amazing Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man music we have, and the soundtrack for Loki is wild. Purpose is Glorious is one of the most inspiring pieces of music I've ever heard. It's also fun to watch people talk and make jokes about it on TikTok, watch character analysis on YouTube, talk about it with your friends, getting to talk about which characters were dumb or which characters were underrated or weird plot holes or storylines that didn't quite add up. All of that has the side effect of being interested in the actors themselves and trying to see what other projects they've been in. And now you're starting to get into the online community of the story, of people talking about the cinematic universe, or people talking about the director's prior work, or other weird stories and interesting things about the production. Even if a movie is complete dung, at least you get to watch a commentary video of somebody making fun of it. That's what makes movies beautiful. You can't do that with a microdrama, because it was about a good guy who did good things and a bad guy who did bad things, and the good guy won and the bad guy didn't. What's there to talk about? And yeah, I guess you still could watch a commentary video about it, but it's so much funnier when they're watching a movie made by people who are actually trying to make something good, but just utterly fail.
First and foremost, I want to thank the filmmakers, the cast and crew, everyone that put in that hard work, blood, sweat, and tears day in and day out in order to bring this film to life. It takes multiple miracles to make a movie and for it to all go right. And so this is definitely a movie that got made.
But at the same time, the argument that all verticals are the same, you could say that about all stories, technically.
Did he just say this is definitely a movie that got made as like Wait, that's so fucking funny. When he This is definitely a movie that got made.
Because eventually,
I wanna
all
see him say it
verticals are the
again.
same. You could say that about all
movie that got made, like a movie, and for it to all go right. And so this is definitely a movie that got made.
But at the same time, the argument that all verticals are the same, you could say that about all stories technically. Because eventually all stories boil down to the same things.
You've watched the same story on traditional film and television a million times. You may not know it, but you have. So we always, there's only so many original ideas. And I think that the idea of recycling or revisiting something that works, it's not a problem. It's just a place where you can sort of explore creativity, I think.
Years ago, there was this comedy duo, Chris and Jack loved them. They made a great short film exploring this idea in a really interesting way.
Okay, get ready to cry. There's a reason this won the Pyrrhic Award.
Was that the whole movie?
Yeah, pretty great, huh?
But that was just a series of beeps and colors.
You want to watch another one? Freaking ending, man.
You should watch the rest of the film because it's hilarious. But the main point is that you can condense any story down to its most basic elements that have been rinsed and repeated for decades, if not centuries. And this is by no means a new thing. Like, Romeo and Juliet is cool, but the basic framework for that plot comes from, or at the very least is heavily inspired by a story that was written like 1,000 years earlier, Pyramus and Thisbe. Young lovers forbidden to get together because of a family rivalry. They fall in love, they decide to meet. One of them confuses the other for dying, and they immediately overreact. And then the girl comes to see that her love is truly gone, so she immediately overreacts. But does this mean that no stories are original? Technically, yes, but in reality, no. I saw a great explanation of this on Reddit. If I told you to show me a number using the digits 1 through 9, and then show me a different one, and then a different one, and another one, and another one. Okay, there's obviously a lot of combinations you could do. But eventually, you will run out. But even still, you can change the font, or the color, or the number system, or you can find some other way to decorate it. In all these examples, you are using the same 9 digits, and there is technically a limited number of combinations before it's just the same things over and over and over again. But because it is each unique to look at, it is a different experience of those numbers. It's technically a new thing. They're all original. So maybe it is the same stories all the time of good versus evil, a hero's journey, a tragedy, a comedy, whatever. It doesn't mean that they can't be original. In my opinion, microdramas are more like this. Yeah, sure, still same idea, I guess. You can shuffle it around, but it's way less options. And that uniqueness is what makes a show iconic, not necessarily that I had never heard a story like this before. You think I remember Austin and Ally because it had a riveting plot? No, I remember it because of Dez.
I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my friends, Austin, Trish.
Just sing the song!
And as far as I'm concerned, I have no idea what Caleb Worthy's been up to ever since then. La 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 la, not listening. But that's not something I'd ever expect to experience with a vertical series. They all seem to be executed the same way. So if it's the same ideas with the same style, that being no style, then it isn't original. And that's because it was never about originality or personality or story. It was about getting you to stare at the stupid app for as long as humanly possible, and blatantly so.
The focus of these films is not about the director's point of view at all. The CEO of Real Short was asked about the creative process, and he said something that would make every film school professor weep. He said, a lot of these directors are thinking, when I shoot the film, I don't care about how people think. This is my creation, it's my story. No, it's not your story. Your success should be determined by the people.
This isn't to say that verticals could never work. There needs to be innovation in media formats. If media never changed, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. The closest thing I'd be able to do is go to school for journalism, fake a British accent, and then start doing think pieces for the local news network, Philomena Kunk style. Am I saying there is absolutely no room for any kind of vertical media in my life? No, not necessarily. Because that feels the same as saying there's no room for TV and we should all only be watching movies, and if anything is shorter than 2 hours, then it's just lazy and it cannot be considered artistic. But I do know one thing, the current execution of vertical dramas is not the way. I just got a notification. Nietzsche once wrote, "We have art in order not to..."
I feel like the problem is just the way they're going about the micro dramas, right? Which is just kind of reiterating the point he just made, which is just it's not necessarily that microdramas as an idea is a terrible thing. It's that all of these microdramas are extremely uninspired and they're extremely cookie cutter and they're all the same and they're all meant to just maximize retention and like user like app usage, and it's all in for the sake of just making as much money with by spending the least amount of money. And it's not about telling a story, it's not about art, it's not about people putting passion into something. It's literally just making money and user retention, and that's all that these apps are, and that's the problem at the end of the day. Because you can tell short stories, you can have short films. We've had, you know, film festivals for decades, of people creating short films and short stories and making really beautiful art and having something to tell and making it compelling and making it interesting for people to evoke their emotions and feel something through all this. So microdramas as a concept at the end of the day isn't the problem. The problem at the end of the day is that it's all just slop retention, and it's not anything worth like watching or experiencing. It's just something for people to just essentially just drool at and just look at and waste time with
Perish from the truth.
and spend money on.
Which is a quote I wrote in the script days ago, hoping that by the time I started not to perish. Nietzsche once wrote, "We have art in order not to perish from the truth." Which is a quote I wrote in the script days ago, hoping that by the time I started filming, it would eventually make sense to me. I still don't get it. I didn't quite know how to write this part because every explanation I looked into as to what it is that makes art and writing so beautiful, every explanation I heard, it was kind of stupid to me. But then again, asking the question itself is kind of stupid because you don't need a reason to appreciate how beautiful and life-giving art can be. When asked if he thought that verticals would be the future of media, the CEO of Real Short said 100%. Reason being, he thinks other streamers take too long to make content, invest too much money up front, and don't have enough customer data. And you know, from a business perspective, he's probably right. And what I'm about to say is probably corny and won't change anything. But everything he's saying is focusing so much on the calculation of whether it can work or not, and says nothing to the artistry of the storytelling. I know that I'm just some dude recording in my parents' basement, and what I'm saying will have almost no effect on anything that takes place in the media industry. But isn't it cool how humans can make stories out of anything and they can personify any object? If I show you a rock, that means nothing. But if I put googly eyes on it, say its name is Raquel, and then tell you she's sad because she's had a rough day, you're now thinking, well, what happened to Raquel? Is that not, like, beautiful? Like, that's so human. That's art.
When I think of
It
culture,
is, yeah.
what do I think of? I think you visit other countries and then they show you what it is that makes them them and not you. And in almost every case you do this, you are looking at their art. You are looking at their architecture. For anyone to say, let us cut art for anything else, suppose they did that back in Renaissance Europe. What would Europe be without the support and interest in a thriving culture of art? As we readily spend money to visit these cities and go to their museums, to turn around and say, now I'm gonna cut the art budget here, that makes no sense to me.
Like, even writing this video has reminded me of all the times I spent writing and brainstorming throughout my childhood. And some things I never wrote down, some things I got halfway through, some things I pretty much finished but never did anything with. It doesn't matter, I loved it. Writing is really cool. I will be deleting Real Short the second I upload this video. It feels like the digital equivalent of a shady businessman. I just want good art to be made.
Yeah.
Art is really cool. Also, that book I made in elementary school, in that video, the whole thing was about turning it into an audiobook, and I remember I only got halfway through, and I promised in the video, if it ever got 1,000 listens on SoundCloud, I would finish the recording. That offer is still on the table. It'll probably, yeah, make it happen. I'll probably do it. I'll do it.
All right, dude. Well, that was a really fun, insightful video by the YouTuber David Achu. Like I said, I I found this guy like earlier this year, and he just makes such great like video essay content that I've been really into the stuff that he makes, and I would highly recommend any of you guys check out his channel sometime and just kind of watch some of the video essays that he's made. Yeah, really cool, really smart, really funny guy. Very like inspirational. I wish I could make that kind of content, to be honest. But yeah, great video.